Hi, everybody, and we've got a Fida Awards talk, and we're joined here by Tracey Smith. Tracey Smith obviously has been here before. She's won before a different award, but this one is, I guess, a new sector and quite a creative sector. And we really are trying every sort of awards to bring in new areas and new ideas. And live fashion illustration has become so prominent in this field. So I guess before I show your work, Tracey, what would be nice is two things. One is, um, why you entered this award, and secondly, a little bit about the journey that you've been going on, because I know a bit about your journey, but your journey that you've been going on the last few fashion shows and fashion weeks and fashion scouts. So you can explain a little bit more before we show the work.
Yeah. So I think this year was when I really found my feet with illustrating catwalk shows. I think previously I'd never really thought it was my forte at all, and I never really quite sort of got it, I suppose. And then I think earlier in the year I had a bit of a breakthrough where I started to look at the whole scene of a fashion show, and I just thought it's not just about one garment or one model on a catwalk. It's about the whole. For me, a catwalk show is all about the whole atmosphere and the theme of the show, the style, the energy of the show, and that includes all the audience and everything. So then I started to incorporate that into my catwalk illustrations, and suddenly I felt like people seemed to like that and reacted to it, and so I started working on that sort of a bit more. And so that sort of was around the February catwalk shows this year. And then by the September shows, I was kind of into my groove with it, really, I suppose. So when I got to Fashion Scout, I felt really confident. It was my third time at Fashion Scout, so I felt like I really knew what I was doing. I could just get on with it. And it is about doing it live in the moment on the one hand, but then with the catwalk shows, you can only illustrate, a tiny few lines as a model walks by. So it's more about getting the feel for it and then doing the illustrations afterwards. But I still do the illustrations really quickly. Like I try and do them in 5 to 10 minutes. And that's why I use charcoal, just to get it done really quickly. So by September, I'd sort of, I felt really comfortable with that style of drawing and working. And luckily, at Fashion Scout in September, I did start taking quite a little bit more video and photographic footage, not with anything particular in mind, obviously just for Instagram or whatever. So then when the awards came up and I saw that it was a live event illustrator, I thought perhaps it was more to do with people who work more, on in shop events and things. But I thought I would clip together what the footage I'd made at Fashion Scout and create a video, because I think you can only show a live event illustrator's work really by a video. Like I don't think a static image would show it at all. So I thought I've got to make a video. And I think, as you said in the awards ceremony, it was a little bit kind of, it wasn't like the best technically. I'm learning as I go with all of that stuff. But I just sort of stitched it together and made a little video of all the footage I'd made at Fashion Scout to show, my drawings alongside what I was actually looking at the time. So you see the connection there rather than just a static drawing that could be from any time, any place, anywhere. So I thought I'd give it a go and enter it. I was actually quite shocked that I won, to be honest, because I thought there was a lot of great live illustrators out there, particularly, but amazing. I'm really pleased. It worked.
What I'll do, I'll just pop it up onto my screen so we can see it. And put it up so we can see. And I'll play it, but I guess for me, this was our first year of doing this, and it's funny. I was just watching a documentary about Kay Tempest,
Oh,
and
I love
the
that. Yeah.
poet. And I was really thinking about your work. And I remember when I was doing my MA and thinking about sort of documenting a moment in time. And I think artists or illustrators do have the capability to be quite poetic as well. So I really, like, for me, I was just thinking, what could we add to this? What would be the next layer? And I'm thinking of like the spoken voice, because we are looking and documenting, and what was really great about this piece, which we'll see, is that it is encapsulating the moment in time, and it isn't always about having this really slick video, because it feels real. And I feel
Yeah.
that's what, if
Yeah.
you made it slick, I think it might have brought a disservice to it. It wouldn't
Yeah.
have felt authentic. It wouldn't
Yeah.
have felt original.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
guess that's what I don't know. Is that, maybe if you look back
But
now, you'll see that.
yeah, no, I actually agree with that, because I I showed this to my husband before I sent it to the awards, and he was like, "That's a bit shit of a shit video, isn't it?" And I was like, "Yeah, but the thing is, it shows what I was doing." I know that's exactly what you actually articulate it better, but it wasn't about the video or the, like you say, the slickness of the video. It was showing what I was actually seeing and what I experienced, and that's, so I think I felt confident sending it in, even though it wasn't the slickest video in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll play it so people can see it now. But it was a really sort of, if you feel the moment and you feel like there's something going on. I'm a bit behind the scenes. This is happening,
Yeah.
and I love the little pictures of people documenting you, so it feels
Yeah.
real, and
Yeah.
and that's what, you could be like, oh, I don't want to be in it, but me capturing you or someone else capturing
Yeah.
you really proved you were there as well. And I
Yeah,
thought,
exactly. You have to be that, show that you're there as well. And yeah, in the moment, I think, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
and I just loved. I thought it was a lovely piece, and really going forwards, we need sort of these little images or moments where people go, ah, now I understand. And I think that
Yeah.
was the bit that I guess some people were confused. They'll send a static image in, or they'll send some sort of beautiful photograph of themselves drawing, or they hadn't thought about, well, I'm there. I'm
Yeah.
live, and I've started to see, because they're starting to work with TikTok now, and they're starting to think, how do I get more engagement? And it is about engagement. So I think
Yeah.
you've kind of, you've sort of nailed it here. But I always think, where next? Because when we did
Yeah.
our crit in February, and we kind of said,
Yeah.
oh, you've got the background, sort
Yeah.
of a little bit of a eureka moment, and then we were like,
Yeah.
right, get on with it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just go for
Yeah.
broke.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
can really, and I think this has been, like you said, it's been the year where you've really sort of jumped another level, and you've
Yeah.
been recognized for that as well. So we've seen
Yeah.
Show Studio recognize it. So it means
Yeah.
that, yes, there is a bit of truth in what you've done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. I'm really pleased. And yeah, and I feel happy with what I'm doing as well. And I think that shows as well, when you're happy with what you're doing and you feel confident, and it shows, doesn't it? Yeah. And yeah.
yeah, I love them, and I think, and there's a real sense of stance. And I remember my tutors when I was in my degree, they used to say, I want to feel that foot on the floor. I want to fit, and you can, like this, just this walking pose here, you
Yeah.
really feel like the slamming of a foot. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I love.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just a
Great.
a real sort of magical experience
Yeah.
of sort of what you create.
Yeah.
And I think let's more and more, and
Yeah.
and this is the sort, and where do you go next? I think that's what I try and say to people is, what's the next challenge? How do
Yeah.
you move this forward? Like, where do you see? So you've done these drawings, and
Yeah.
almost like you've recovered because it's took you so long to get to this point, and now you want to get on with it and enjoy the moment. But every creative is, where
No,
do
no,
you
no. You've
now
always,
push it?
yeah. I think I'm always thinking, you know, what do I do next? And it is a tricky one with this, because I've obviously got something going on, but I mean, just on a basic level, I would just, because I think this works at the minute because I'm using charcoal and it's a very quick response, and that's why it works so well. You know, I don't plan it out or draw it, you know, and then color it in kind of thing. You know, I literally just go, how quickly can I draw this in charcoal, and then add some ink or whatever. So I think it might be nice to try it in other mediums and just try it in all in ink or something, or all in pastel, I don't know, something else, which I do. I think some of those illustrations in there are different things as well. But yeah, I don't know, maybe I don't know how to take it forward. Something to think about, definitely.
Yeah, I guess so one of the,
Might be nice to try collage or something as well.
well,
Anyway,
not only from that point of view, is like Richard Haynes said to me that he just draws a tiny little bit and then he goes off to his hotel room, and then he fills it all in. He says, I just try and capture some little strokes of essence. I photograph it, and then I'll go back and then I'll make new studies. So that I've got more time to really like labor over it. What I was trying to think of is how does this become art? How does this go? You know, if I'm to think to myself, I want to buy this, and rather than doing a giclée print of it, like, could it become a stone lithograph print? Could, like, where do you go to make? Could these become sort of screen prints? But how do we get that subtlety in there and make it more of an art process? And I'm just that's the quest I'd be trying to think is, you're going to have this sort of manuscript of drawings, and where do they go next? Like, how do they gain an extra layer, or how do they grow into bigger pieces that you feel has more power to them? And I think that's what I'd love to see is where next.
Yeah. I might get back to you on that one.
But it is always the next. And rather than, you know, we talk about giclées and we talk about this, and they feel like, oh, I'd love that image, and we go for this sort of option. You need to take sort of this sort of role of, no, I'm going to slow down, and I'm going to take a bit of pride, and I'm going to do harder stuff. And you know, like Sophie, who does these burnished etchings and stuff, and they're really the magic that comes out of them etchings, so fantastic. You know, and it is really a labor of love. The next journey, but I also, just looking at them now, they remind me of something that could be on newsprint. And even if you did like a newspaper documenting Fashion Week of your own, and then at the end of Fashion Week, you go, here's my newspaper, and it's seen as a sort of way of promoting yourself. And it's quite a cheap process to do. And that could be a nice,
that would be very cool. It would.
And it feels quite fast. It feels quite where you're kind of coming from anyway, as this documenter, like a journalist. And journalists.
I've also got this. I've got one of those sort of fold out sketchbooks as well. You know, like a concertina style sketch. I've got in my head, it would be quite cool to just draw them consecutively along a long page that folds out as well, you know, like when it concertinas out, so it's almost like you're seeing them walking along the catwalk. As that would be quite cool as well.
That would be love. And a combination of doing it small and big,
small and
big sheets of paper, and really then thinking, oh, I could do this quite big. And you could imagine it going to an exhibit, like imagining the show. That's how I would see it. Curate the show in your head, and then kind of and I remember seeing some artists who obviously they draw on sort of room dividers because they have that same shape. So Matisse did it, Picasso did it, Francis Bacon did it. So it could be quite nice to see that. And I just would, I want to see more. Even lining paper.
Cool. Exactly.
Good.
There's some old wallpaper in the shed here. I might use that.
Go for it all. And I think that this sort of upcycling used old
Yeah,
materials that you find and then draw on top of, and it
yeah,
has that extra layer to it.
yeah.
I think that could be quite nice. Right, good, Tracy. As we
Great.
said, we keep these
Thanks very
short.
much.
And I know you're in New Zealand, are you?
I'm in New Zealand visiting family. Yeah.
Oh, lovely,
Sort of a
lovely.
working holiday. We're working as well, but yeah,
Yeah,
still
I
very
saw I
nice.
saw a picture, so it's good.
Still very nice.
Brilliant. All right, thank you, Tracy, and have a
Thank
lovely
you.
time. And
Thanks
hopefully,
very
I'll see
much.
you after Christmas. Have a good one.
Yeah,
Bye bye.
hope so.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks.